Hello, this is Merle Rutledge, the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia. I'm here with Santia Ferguson. We have been discussing issues and concerns about domestic violence and, of course, her personal experience. Um, Santia Ferguson is going to be talking to us about what's going on in Caswell County, what she has faced with the courts and law enforcement as far as dealing with a past boyfriend who ended up being abusive. So, Santia Ferguson, for the audience, can you tell us about yourself and, of course, what's going on with the situation in Caswell County?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rutledge. I'm a single mother living in Caswell County. At the time when the assault started, I was living in an apartment complex, Meadowview. Um, when it started, when it happened, I was pinned down by the abuser's mom, and he was told to go and call the police. So once I was able to finally get free and get outside, I had to scream, and she was pulling on me. And as she was pulling on me, my neighbors came out, and I was able to finally break free from her. And the police came, and my neighbors told them, "Hey, they assaulted her." Well, long story short, we all ended up at the police station. No charges were filed to my abuser or his mom. He wasn't arrested. They were able to continue to harass me and intimidate me. I have been every year, because I'm a client of family services. I have been every year to try to obtain a 50B. It's been dismissed each time. I went last year, and I just went on Monday. And my abuser was allowed to face me and cross-examine me on the stand. And his exact words to me were there any charges filed? I said no. Were there any arrests made? I said no. Who called the police? I did. So because they didn't arrest him, because they didn't listen to any of the witnesses that came forth to let them know that I was assaulted, and when I got to the police station, they were the only ones allowed to go back and talk to the magistrate. I was not allowed to talk to the magistrate or anything. Um, Over the years, the harassment continued, the intimidation continued. I would go to the magistrates to let them know, hey, they're harassing me. I went to a banquet, domestic violence banquet, and I was told that it's against the law to do domestic violence in front of a child. At the time, my son was about 2 or 3. That law was broken. Stalking laws were broken because I was told that I was going to be watched. The mother left a voicemail. I took it to the magistrate. They did nothing. So each time they were allowed to harass me and intimidate me. The day that the order was served to him for the hearing, he rode past my house twice to try to intimidate me. And then on Monday, I went to the judge, and um, we had a hearing about the domestic violence. And he, like I said, he was able to cross-examine me. The judge was a woman, and she actually dismissed the 50B order. So I'm still dealing with it to this day, and it's um emotionally stressful. I've been depressed. I actually walked out of there crying and feeling defeated because I was like, okay, what can I do? Like, how are they allowed to keep harassing me? And what quality of life am I gonna have, with my kids, if I don't feel safe? So I feel like I've been failed. I don't have any records. I don't go around causing, problems with people. All I want is peace. And I was told by a lawyer that works for the city of Virginia legal aid that I may never get any peace, and I don't want to accept it.
Okay. So at this time period, a judge basically dismissed the case only because the guy never had any kind of previous arrest. But the judge was made fully aware about everything that was happening and transpiring in regards to why you was trying to obtain a restraining order. And all the way up until the time when you had to go to court, you had incidents where he was seemingly stalking or driving past your place without no kind of social business to be there or be around in that area. So at this time period, you said that you already went to police. You already said that you went to the magistrate's office, and at this time frame, you feel like that nobody is doing anything, no matter how severe. And you also mentioned that you got threats and emails. Am I correct in regards to this particular individual as well?
Well, it's more so intimidation. Um, he'll say something to the degree of, "We're going to go to court and you're not going to win." And it's obvious because I haven't won anything. That when I try to take a stand and say, "Hey, I'm not going to allow this harassment. I'm not going to allow this." When I try to sit there and I try to take a stand the correct way through the law, they're not helping me. And he even used the law to try to intimidate me. Like he'll make a false claim and call DSS on me, or he'll call the police and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do a welfare child check," and he'll send the police to my house to act like he's checking on, he has sent the police to my house to act like, he's checking on my baby. So, he does that, and he'll try to intimidate me. I had text messages, I had emails, I had teachers write me letters, I had individuals from the night of the incident come forth. One of the people is, she was a former director over family services, which deal with domestic violence victims. And she happened to live in that area and was outside and saw me trying to get away, tried to write a letter for me to get to the judge. The judge would not even look at my letter.
And did the judge say the reason why she didn't look at your letters was because the particular person who authored the letter was not present in court?
Well, this particular instance, this is one that I tried to obtain from last year. And the lady that was over family services, she was like the director, but she lived right beside me in the building right beside me, and she saw me trying to get away. Like she saw it, and I was gonna try to submit the letter to the judge. At the time, it was a man, and he was like, "No, I don't want to see it." So once again, I walked out. This chest was puffed up, whatever, and I didn't get a restraining order. So I've been trying to get one every year. My baby's almost 7 years old. I've been going through this for almost 7 years.
And 7 years, actually, even one day is entirely too long, especially for anybody who's going through domestic abuse. And then you're dealing with somebody who seems like they're hell bent on going after you and um, basically screwing around with your life. But he has physically assaulted you. Am I correct?
Yes,
And
he
you said,
has.
and how long has the physical assault went on? I mean, while you was in a relationship, how long was he um, verbally and physically abusive to you?
Okay,
Well,
so that was the first and only time that he ever put his hands on me. The verbal abuse did start before that. We actually, I would say, I guess they say friends with benefits is what we was. We were friends, and then we ended up becoming friends with benefits. Once I got pregnant, that's when the verbal abuse started. The pregnancy that I had was high risk. high risk pregnancy, in which I had to be on bed rest. I was told that it was my fault that she was coming early and all kinds of stuff. Like, all tried to guilt trip me and all kinds of stuff. So that actually started like while my baby was baking in the womb. And it just got more intense and it got worse after I had her.
Now, does this particular gentleman, I don't need to mention the name at this time period. Um, let's just say he became verbally abusive during the time period in which he was pregnant. And what was the final reason why you separated from this person? Now, this is in 2014. Of course, right now, 2020. So this is years past your breakup. And this guy is still tormenting you in this type of way after the fact.
Yes, he is. He is, and it's like it becomes not about the child. Now it seems like it's a personal vendetta against me. And I'm like, you know, what am I doing? Like, all I'm trying to do is work and take care of my kids. I can't even date because nobody wants to deal with the drama. I've been a single woman for 5 years. And then, once I start to talk to somebody and, you know, get close, I try to let them know what I'm dealing with so that they have a choice. But once they realize that I have all this drama going on, nobody wants to deal with me.
Now, since this situation, how many times has he came up to your house while you've been there on your property? You said one time frame he was banned from a previous address that you lived at. Now, at your new address, has he been onto your property since then?
Okay, so the band while the band was going on, he wouldn't come there. He didn't try to come there until he realized that I was moving. So I purchased the house. I closed on my house July the 2nd. So there is something in my custody order that says that I'm supposed to give him the address. I refused to give him my address for that reason, obviously because he put his hands on me. So once he found out, well, actually, my daughter told me that she told her grandma where we live, or she showed her, and that they rode past my house. And then once he got served with that order, um, my dad said that he seen them drive past my house, turn around, and then come right back on past my house again. And they've probably been there, more times, after that. I just didn't realize it, but they haven't been on my property, but they've been past my property, and it seems like, maybe it's an intimidation tactic.
And at your house and location, because I want to come up with ways to actually address this um, and make sure it comes to an end sooner than later. And right now, it looks like you have went through all types of avenues um, for relief in regards to this situation. You already filed a restraining order. You already dealt with the police. You already been before a judge, and you still have all this going on. At your location, do you have video surveillance or the ring or anything to monitor activity while you're there or when you're not there?
Well, I just moved in my house August the 1st, so I don't have any video surveillance or anything like that. Everybody's telling me I need to get it, but of course, that stuff costs money, and it's like once you move, it's like you still trying to get your funds and everything back in order. But I am aware that I do need, video surveillance. And I am going to be working on that soon.
Well, that's perfectly fine. Right now, while you have a chance to make some changes, of course, with a situation like this, I always encourage people to be proactive, not reactive in this situation, because obviously it's not going away um, anytime soon unless there's something else more aggressive to be done. Now, with your interactions with this gentleman, you said that you normally meet him at the police station to do a drop off, or I guess to do visitation, like a lot of people do. They rather in front of the police station so nobody could say, you know what I'm saying, one way or the other, if something goes wrong or whatever. But you said that even at these drop offs, you have had incidents with this gentleman. Am I correct?
Well, I've tried to take a stand and meet at the sheriff department because I kept being antagonized and kept trying to intimidate me. So I was like, look, unless we meet at the sheriff department, I'm not going. So he took me to court. At the time, it was Judge Gentry that we went in front of. And I was trying to let the judge know, look, I don't have a problem with him seeing his kid. I just don't want to be, antagonized and have to be, you know, harassed and all this stuff. I don't got time for that. And he basically he told the judge, well, I don't want to meet at the sheriff department because I don't want to expose her to that. And Judge Gentry at the time told him that he agreed with him about exposing my baby to that environment and that I needed to make a way for him to see his child. So we ended up meeting back at Bojangles, which was initially where we were meeting because I was trying to have us meet at a place that was public, where people could see, what was going on. And that's where we've been meeting at for years. But like I said, it started to escalate to the point where my family feel like they have to go. When my family go, he'll start an argument with my family too. And then end up trying to call the police and play that same game. So I was like, look, we need to meet at the sheriff department. And it's actually in my child custody order that we are supposed to meet at the sheriff department that's signed by a judge. And he refuses to do that. And he pretty much keep getting away with doing, what he want to do or following the order the way that he want to follow it.
Okay. Now, I know from what you're saying right now, it seems like the cards is stacked against you with this guy, and it seems like the normal rope a dope with the legal system. Now, is this particular person connected with anybody? Does he work for a government agency or anything like that? Or um, because it seems a little bit odd for all of this to go on. No restraining order is put into play, and no further action has been done to make sure not only you and your kids are safe, but this type of harassment doesn't continue. Um, so, what has happened in that meantime? In other words, as far as that's concerned, you said because normally in these smaller rural areas, there's a lot of connections going on, meaning they know people, in other words.
Well, his mama don't. She ain't, let it be no secret that she do know higher ups, and she'll tell you, oh, I know the county commissioner, and I know this person, and I know that person. So it is very possible, that they may have connections and know people higher up. It's possible.
All right, because that's what it kind of seems like at this time period. I know most of the people, when they're in a particular area, they know it's almost like everybody knows everybody. Now, for me to look at what the best thing to do for right now while this is going on. There's no kind of way for it to be an overnight process, but we are going to look into this one very thoroughly. Even though I'm in Virginia, you are in North Carolina. It doesn't matter where you're at. These type of things we know can escalate and can become deadly. So I'd rather be proactive on making sure that you are as safe and able to defend yourself sooner than later. So, do you have a firearm at this time frame? Have you been trained with a gun, or do you have any concerns about having a firearm?
No, I don't have a firearm. I've never been trained with a firearm. I just haven't tried to get one because of my kids, but everybody pretty much telling me that I need one.
And I can tell you this: I 100% agree with everybody who's telling you to get a firearm because I'm going to be talking to some others who talked to me and reached out to me. I'm going to say priority at this time frame is getting you a firearm, getting you trained on when and how and where to use it, whether it's in North Carolina or Virginia. We'll see about reciprocal laws. But at this time period, it seems like you're in a situation where you need to fight back and make sure that you protect yourself and your kids, and that comes first before anybody or anything. Um, so as far as this concerned, I want you to put priority into getting a firearm. I'm going to have some firearm experts as well reach out to you so you can get trained on concealed carry, as well as how to properly use it, how to store it, and make sure it works at the time frame. And when you need to use it, you can. Because I'm really sick and tired of people doing stuff like they are doing to you, and it gets dangerous the more that they feel like they're above the law. And
Mhm.
at that time period, they become more aggressive and more dangerous. So at this time frame, if they want to become more aggressive and more dangerous, I'd rather you be able to be prepared to defend yourself as soon as possible and when the situation comes up. Now, as far as dealing with the authorities, we are going to follow up and find out what in the hell is going on and why are they holding back. And I will check the backgrounds in regards to the person that you're talking about and anybody connected to see if they have any kind of affiliation with people in that local government or whatever in Caswell County. And we're going to get to the bottom of this one. But the major thing is to send a message to the person that's doing this to you that the games is over with, that nobody's playing around with you. This has went on for far too long, and that you'll be ready if there's something that comes up from this situation and goes this far. Now, from the police standpoint at this time period, they refused to file any charges against this person. Had they even said that they talked to him or questioned him about his conduct?
No, they haven't done anything to them as far as misconduct is concerned. Um, I just, like I said, I just been trying to get restraining orders and different stuff like that, just trying to get them to see that they're, they're harassing me.
Well, they saying it now. I can say that part. And probably right now their concern is me being involved. And I really don't give a damn about the local government or whatever it may be. It's about doing the right thing. And if there is somebody screwing around or whatever it may be, then we need to find that out sooner than later and nip that in the bud. So I will be talking to Mr. Miller. I know directly how to contact him, and I'm going to want some explanations about what in the hell is going on and why is this continuing. I will talk to the sheriff directly, and I will talk to some of the deputies around there about what is being done to stop this type of situation from going on and what resources that they have or whatever they have put towards this situation, because it doesn't make sense for this to be going on for 6 years. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
nobody says something is wrong here for this to continue to happen for all these years, and nothing has been done. Nobody goes to court back and forth. Honestly, I find court as an inconvenience. You got to sit there all day, and then it may or may not work out this way. You don't know who's doing pay for play or whatever motives is going on behind the scenes. But the major thing we can make sure is done is that it's a no nonsense attitude being applied with this guy. And we will reach out on all situations and let each side know there's more attention being brought to this matter. And if they want to continue in this direction, then they could put themselves at their own risk or their own peril. Because if they come onto your property, you want to make sure that you know what to do and how to carry out business. So, and most get the message loud and clearly at that time frame once you are armed and you have given out that warning. And plus, I will say make sure any interaction with this particular guy is recorded directly. Do not give it to chance because a lot of time frames they will strike without even giving out a warning. But it also puts a person on guard to straighten up when they know that everything's being recorded and they can't challenge what was said and what was done. Get what I'm saying? Especially
Yeah.
when somebody's trying to antagonize you. And you did a great job like keeping all your emails, all your texts and stuff like that. Don't lose it, even though it seemed like the judge wasn't paying attention that time. Don't worry about that part. You keep doing it to make sure you protect yourself. Okay?
Mhm.
So this way, it protects you as far as what happened, and then also you have a backup plan. Um, but also get stun gun, pepper spray. I'll make sure I send you down some stuff, okay?
Okay. Thank
And
you.
to make sure you have some extra, um, I'd say self defense, going on here. But don't think for a second this is going to go solid by far. I'm going to have several groups reach out to you. I got some gun happy friends that would be more than happy, and they specialize with domestic violence victims and those who've been through it, and they make sure that you're trained and ready to go. So you're going to have as many resources and backup that you once didn't have, and it's not because you didn't want it, you just didn't know. You know what I'm saying? These groups or these different organizations existed, and they will all reach out to you. But we want to put an end to this, and I'm just sending this message. And it's so good that you actually came on the show. There's a lot of people going through what you're going through. They may not know who I am, you know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
or what's happening in this particular area, and people need to be informed and aware about exactly what they can and can't do. And right now, it seems like you got frustrated. I can say that part. A lot of people do with how the system is being done. It's supposed to be protecting people, and right now it seems like it's catering to to
Yeah.
the aggressor in this situation. And as far as everything else, how's the little ones doing dealing with all of this? Are they showing any kind of emotion or acting out because of what's all going on? Do they feel, you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. My daughter, she feels like sometimes she said, "Well, Mama, it's my fault because I showed them where we live at and stuff like that." So yeah, it is definitely taking a toll on my kids. My daughter,
And I
especially
understand that
her.
one. I, under, I fully understand that because most of the time frame we think the kids don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Or pay attention,
Hmm.
and they are paying attention. That's the normal concern we all have as being a family. Um, but to say the least, I'm going to do everything in my power and to get on top of this sooner than later. More than likely, I expect Caswell County to change their tune. If they don't, then I will come down there to the area. They know that already. And I will personally go there with you and deal with this situation with those authorities directly with you. Okay. And a lot of times, they just try to give out some information to to have people just leave out their office. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time frame, that's not really the correct way to do it. It's supposed to be more investigation done. And I'm not sure about their resources or whatever it may be. And it could be this other side that's causing havoc there and calling down there regularly. You know what I'm saying? Trying to paint a picture that's not there. But as far as it's concerned, we're going to do whatever we can do. By Friday, I expect a lot of people to be reaching out to you directly, and whether it's from a militia, whether it's from um, people support groups that you wasn't aware about, but they all are definitely all about self-defense because we know that the police are there to respond. They are not there when things initially happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you want to make sure you have every legal standing that you can have in room to make sure you're not going to jail, but the person who is putting you in this situation is. See what I'm saying?
I
And
do.
so, as far as is concerned, you're going to get plenty of help. I'm going to make sure I'm working on this directly with you. I wanted people to hear exactly your story because we are fortunate right now, and people don't realize it, for us to be talking right now. You know what I'm saying? It's either one, somebody's in jail, or the person is dead, from the situation, and we're catching up to everything after the fact. So for right now, the best thing to do right now is what you're doing right now is letting people know this is happening and that this is not going to go silent or go away. Now, as far as the guy that's doing this, and you said his family is also involved. Are they a part of Caswell County from the part that you're talking about, or do they live outside of Caswell County?
No, it's his mom and his mom. They both he lived with his mom, and they both live in Caswell County, but they live closer to like Reedsville, Burlington area. But they're still a part of the county.
Part of the county. So
Hmm.
they have very close access to get to you anytime frame they want to. And you've never been in trouble with the law or nothing. So, and now him, you're unsure if he has ever been arrested, but at one time period, you did mention he was charged criminally, but you decided to drop it. Did you drop it because you thought it would go away? Meaning hopefully you, this person takes this as a warning, you know what I'm saying? And
Well,
leaves you alone.
it was a different judge that gave it to me. So when I went on Tuesday, it was another judge, and she actually awarded me with an ex parte. But with the ex parte, it's temporary, but they have to do a hearing, I guess, to address the claims that are against them. So when we went and he addressed it, that's what was said, and the other judge, she dismissed it.
Okay. So there is another hearing coming up. So you was granted the ex parte part, meaning from what lawyers tell me anyway, that you had a hearing, you told them the basis of the reason for your restraining order. So in order for that restraining order, which is temporary, to become permanent, you had to go back to court with the gentleman with you, right? Or the guy's
Well, now Monday was the day that we were supposed to go to court for him to address it. He addressed it, and at that point, it didn't. It actually was dismissed.
okay, so today it was actually dismissed
Yes, it was dismissed on Monday.
on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was for the permanent restraining order, right?
Yes,
That's the
yes.
permanent standards.
Mm-hmm.
And was this in juvenile domestic relations court? I know each state has their child court, or you know what I'm saying, where it comes from a domestic partnership. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Was it in that type of court, or was this in general district?
It was like in a general district part. It's a small county, so they got uh different courtrooms, and most of the stuff that they do is upstairs in that one courtroom that they got.
Okay.
It's
Now,
not private. Whoever got a case that they can see, what's going on.
okay. So at this time frame, did they give you a time frame in which you could go back to get another restraining order, or did they give
No,
you
they didn't give me nothing. They just dismissed it, and that was it. That was
that
it.
was it? And what was
Yeah.
his reason? And now, what did the other person? Was the other person there? The one who we're talking about right now, the abuser, was he in court on Monday?
Yeah, he was there. He was allowed to cross examine me and question me too. So
Okay,
yeah.
and he was allowed to question you, and the judge, for his reasoning of dismissal, what was the reason that the judge gave you for why he was throwing out the restraining order? I
So
just want to get
basically,
clarity. Hmm?
basically the three questions that he asked was, were there any charges filed? I said no. Were there any arrests made? I said no. Who called the police? He did. So she said, well, the charge, it's dismissed basically. So That's why I was dismissed, because all of that stuff.
So he's saying that he called the police, or did you call the police?
No, he called him. I was pinned down, and then while I was pinned down, his mama went and told him, "Hey, go call the police." So he went and called the police, and by the time the police got there, I guess it maybe looked like, well, I was the guilty person because he called. But I
And what
had my neighbors saw it, and then my neighbors was like, "Hey, they assaulted her," and they wouldn't listen to that my neighbors had to say.
was your neighbors in court? Was the people
No,
in court witnesses?
no,
No.
it never got to court. It never got to court because they didn't charge them with anything. They didn't arrest them. And they actually asked them in front of me, did they want to press charges against me for defending myself?
Okay. And I think I guess to reword the question, why did the grandmother feel like she had to put her hands on you in any kind of way? Why did she touch you? And she was inside your house right when this took place.
They
Am I
both
correct?
were. Yeah, they both were, and I asked them to both leave, and they it was determined that they wasn't gonna leave. You know, even when it was escalating, and I got my kids there, I wasn't really trying to, be in there arguing with them and stuff. I asked them to leave, and they told me no.
Okay, so they was inside your house at this time period.
Yeah.
So when they first got there, was it known that they was going to come on that particular day, or did they just show up?
No, they actually knew. Like, I was very close with my neighbors, and like I would say two or three of them, I was very close with. One of them was my best friend. She knew they was coming. But like I said, nobody knew or would, ever would anticipate that they was gonna put their hands on me. So nobody stuck around or anything like that. It was supposed to be a situation where my baby was supposed to be dropped off and they was supposed to go home. That's what it, was supposed to be. But it ended up being something much bigger than that.
Okay. Now, as far as the incident, that may have led to the restraining order, but then when the police got there, they was asking them, even though this was on your property, in other words,
Mm-hmm.
they came into your house
Yeah.
and the police wanted to ask them, the ones who came into your house on your property, did they want to file charges and they are on your property
Yes.
in your house?
Yes. And my sister at the time she came, my sister and my father came, and my sister asked the police. She said, how are they in her house and she outside and they assaulted her? And the man said, "Ma'am, you need to be quiet." And my sister said, "No, you need to do your job." And he arrested her. He didn't arrest them, but he arrested my sister. So we had to get my sister out of jail that night. But for asking them why was they in my house and I was outside.
Because I know I know with certain situations, like normally when it's on private property, most I ask them, "What are you doing on this property? Why are you in this house?" It's questions that are asked, you know, before jumping even down to the part of charging people. Unless the police get there and they see a straight up fight in the like in the yard or in the house, of course I can see them acting right then and there. But at this point, they are questioning everybody because everybody's, I guess, is at a distance from each other, but they're still on your property. You already
Mm-hmm.
told them to leave. They refused to leave, and then all this takes place, and you're still being questioned as if you went to their property,
Yep.
started this up. I can see if you was on their property. You know what I'm saying? Then I can
Mm-hmm.
see the confusion. But they go onto your property, do all of
Yep.
this. Something's
Yep.
wrong. Something's definitely wrong here. Now,
Yeah.
are the police aware that you had told him to no longer come onto your property or trespass regardless of the restraining order, you still have told him and informed him at this time frame he's not welcome on your property, right?
I did. I did. I informed both him and his mom that they weren't welcome, and I have a no trespassing sign on my property that's visible from the road.
Okay. Now, have you given him a written letter stating that you don't want him on your property, or has this
No,
been mostly verbal?
no, this has been verbal mostly.
So it has been mostly verbal. In other
Yes.
words,
Mhm.
okay. Well, I'm not going to give out legal advice. I'm going to tell you what I would do. Um, since his address is on file and all this other stuff, I encourage you to make sure you write a letter to let him know that he's not welcome, and to give a letter to the police department. And you videotape yourself going to that police department and saying this particular person is not welcome on my property at all for no reason. So if he ever goes on your property, the police are informed, as well as he is informed that if you show up here, you already trespass. Get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this way, there's no dispute. There's nothing there. It's that you showed up even a foot onto my property. You are no longer given that kind of leeway or whatever. And that's something I would tell even my own daughter. But also at the same time frame, it seems like things have went out of control to the point once people go onto your property, that's a different type of threat level. You know, especially
Yeah.
given what transpired in your own words about what happened once they was on your property. So that would definitely be one of the first things I would start working on. Just go ahead and write the letter. Doesn't take too long or whatever, and make sure you videotape yourself going to the police department, videotape yourself putting that letter in the mail, and making sure, hey, it ain't no return address, but this letter says you cannot come on my property. The restraining order and stuff like that, you'd rather have that in play until this other situation gets itself worked out, because clearly you have made your intentions known this person is not welcome. What he does
Mhm.
on the streets, it ain't too much on that part. But what he does while he's on your property, you want to make sure you are protected. Okay?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay? So I'm going to cut the interview in a few, and I just wanted people to know exactly what you was going through. I'm gonna make sure, of course, I get it out there as far as any kind of group or any kind of resource or whatever. It's gonna be plenty to come your way, and that's because people either lost someone to situations like this, or they've been the actual victim, and this is how they fall back. So I will do everything in my power. I can give you that guarantee to make sure I get some answers about what's going on and have some more eyes in regards to this matter. And I can guarantee you their tune is going to change once I hit them up, because they know if it doesn't, I'm coming to their area. They know I'm not that far away and don't mind the drive. And we can discuss it in person, or we can do whatever. But as I come down there, I'm going to make sure you go with me to the police station. Okay? And we'll
Okay.
go through the courts and all that other stuff that need be, especially if something else happens in regards to the situation, or we don't get the answers that we are looking for. And that means to make sure your safety and your kids' safety is of the utmost importance and priority. And I will be reaching out to some of your family as far as making sure you follow up and get yourself a firearm. Because whether it's this guy or not, you gotta make sure you are able to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it
Yes, I
could be
do.
somebody else like him or a stranger. Period. But we will follow up in regards to that matter. So I just wanted to let you know, thank you for coming up here and telling me your story. I'm going to talk to you off of course, this interview live. But I'm very glad that you came forward and said this is what's going on, and this is how authorities are treating it at this time period. And we're going to do our best to make sure things change. Period. And hopefully It doesn't have to come to anything more extreme, but I don't want to kid you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to kid you about the fact of how serious this can become. So that's the major thing in regards. So, um, anything you'd like to tell other people about what you're going through? Last message for people who may be experiencing this and how it has consume your life. Because right now, I'm pretty sure going to work right now and all the after effects of this has caused a lot of turmoil. You know what I'm saying? It's
Definitely.
just like,
Yeah, well, I mean, I just want to let people know not to give up. Just because the people put the gavel down on you and say, "Hey, there's nothing we can do," there is something they can do. And what I'm learning is, for me to try to educate myself. I wasn't prepared when I went into the courtroom on Monday, and I didn't realize that domestic violence actually hits a whole lot of different areas. It's not just the physical, but it's verbal and emotional abuse and harassment. It hits all of those things. And I wasn't prepared, and I didn't educate myself enough to be able to defend myself because my advocate couldn't be there for me.
okay, and thank you for coming on. I'm going to talk to you behind the scenes, so just stay on the line. I'm getting ready to end the broadcast. And thanks, everybody, for listening to this broadcast in Caswell County in the South Side. I will be seeing you sooner than later if this continues. Thank you.